Close your eyes for a moment. Breathe in, slowly. Breathe out, even slower. What if I told you that 5 simple habits could change the entire direction of your life in just 1 week? 7 days ago, I was restless. Not just busy, but restless inside. You know that feeling, when your mind is noisy even in silence, when the weight of small things feels unbearable. I thought freedom meant escaping. More money, more success, more control over a chaotic world. But it wasn't the world that needed changing, it was me. In my search, I stumbled upon ancient wisdom, Stoicism, not as dry philosophy, but as a way to live, breathe, and reclaim the mind. I made a commitment. For 1 week, I would live differently. I chose 5 habits, simple, ancient, and raw, and I lived them daily. Not perfectly, not even gracefully, but honestly. And something shifted. The noise faded. The weight lifted. I found a freedom I didn't know I was missing. Tonight, I'm sharing these 5 habits with you, not as a blueprint, but as an invitation. Not for a perfect life, but for a quieter mind, a steadier heart, a freer soul. Stay with me till the end. You might just find your own freedom too. Mornings used to feel like a battle. The alarm would scream. I'd reach for my phone. Emails, notifications, a flood of noise before I even left the bed. My days began not with purpose, but with reaction. I was living on defense, responding, chasing, rushing before the sun even rose. Then I learned about morning reflection, a simple practice that Marcus Aurelius himself followed, to sit quietly at dawn and ask, what is in my control today? No expectations, no to-do lists, just presence. So I tried. The first morning, I sat on the floor by the window. No phone, no noise, just the dim light of early day and the slow, uncertain breath of someone not used to stillness. It was uncomfortable. My mind screamed louder in the silence. Thoughts ran wild, unfinished projects, old regrets, new worries. But I stayed. 5 minutes, then 6, and slowly something shifted. The noise didn't vanish, but it softened, like a storm moving farther away. In that quiet space, I could see what truly mattered, what could be controlled, what could be released. On the 3rd morning, something happened. I watched the first rays of sunlight touch the floor, soft, golden, patient. And for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel hurried. I didn't feel behind. I felt still. That day, everything moved slower, not because the world changed, but because I did. I wasn't racing the clock. I wasn't chasing noise. I was simply there, in my own life, awake. If you've never tried this, start simple. Tomorrow morning, before touching your phone, before diving into the noise, sit. Sit for 5 minutes. Breathe. Ask yourself, what do I truly control today? You don't have to force calm. You don't have to fight the noise. Just sit with it. And slowly, you might find, as I did, that in stillness, your mind remembers what freedom feels like. We live in a world that tells us, focus on the positive, think good thoughts, manifest success. And yet, the Stoics practiced something different. They practiced negative visualization, daily imagining the loss of what they cherished most. At first, it sounds grim. Why picture losing what you love? Why invite sorrow? But here's what they knew. To imagine loss is not to surrender to despair, but to awaken deeper gratitude. I remember the first time I tried it. I sat in the quiet morning light and thought, What if, just for today, I lost my job? Not because I wanted to, not because it would happen, but just what if? A familiar panic crept in. Visions of unpaid bills, uncertain futures. But then something unexpected surfaced. Relief. Relief that I still had today. Relief that I still had a chance, this moment, to give my best. It wasn't about fear, it was about presence. The Stoics call this premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. By confronting loss in the mind, you loosen its grip on your soul. You don't live in fear of it, you live prepared. And more than that, you live grateful. Later that week, I imagined other losses, missing a loved one's call, losing a small opportunity. Each time, I noticed something. I hugged tighter, I listened more closely, I appreciated more quietly. Negative visualization didn't make me negative. It made me present. It taught me everything is borrowed, temporary, precious. When you live as if nothing is guaranteed, you live fully. Try this. Tonight, before you sleep, close your eyes. Think of one thing you treasure, a friend, a talent, a simple morning coffee. Now, imagine it gone, just for a moment. Feel the ache, and then feel the gratitude. And tomorrow, see if you move through the world a little more awake, a little more grateful. Comfort is addictive. The soft bed, the warm shower, the easy yes, the endless scrolling. Without noticing, we start living inside a cushion, a life wrapped in layers of comfort. And yet, the Stoics believed that comfort, left unchecked, leads to weakness. They practiced voluntary discomfort, choosing small hardships so they would be ready for the real ones. For me, it started with cold showers, not by accident, but by choice. Each morning, I turned the knob toward cold. The first shock of water was sharp, a slap of reality. Every instinct screamed, turn it off, go back, find warmth. But I stayed. 1 minute, 2. It wasn't about toughness. It wasn't about proving anything. It was about reminding myself, discomfort is not the enemy. Fear of discomfort is. Later that week, I tried something else. On a chilly morning, I left the jacket behind. The wind bit my skin. The cold found every exposed inch. But walking down the street, I noticed something. I wasn't fragile. I wasn't weak. I was awake, alive. When you practice discomfort on your terms, the world feels less threatening. Small storms don't shake you. Minor troubles don't crush you. You learn that your strength doesn't come from the absence of hardship, but from your willingness to face it. You don't have to start with cold showers. Start small. Skip the elevator. Walk instead. Leave the house without checking your phone. Fast for a few hours. Choose a small discomfort, deliberately, and watch how it changes you. The Stoics knew, the body that is soft never carries a strong mind. Discomfort is not suffering, it is training. It's a reminder, you are tougher than you think. And freedom, real freedom, isn't in avoiding hardship, but in mastering it. What's the worst that could happen? We hear that phrase often, but rarely do we sit with it. Rarely do we answer. The Stoics did. They practiced premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils, daily imagining the worst-case scenarios, not to dwell in fear, but to disarm it. One evening, after a long day, I sat down with a pen and a blank page. At the top, I wrote, "What is the worst that could happen this week?" I listed them. Losing a client, failing an important meeting, getting rejected, being misunderstood. One by one, the fears poured out, raw, unfiltered. At first, the list felt heavy, each item a quiet weight on my chest. But as I kept writing, a strange thing happened. I realized none of it would destroy me. It would hurt, it would be uncomfortable, but it wouldn't end me. And in that realization, the fear lost its sharpness. It became manageable. When we don't name our fears, they grow wild in the dark corners of our mind. But when we bring them into the light, when we write them down, speak them aloud, they shrink. They lose their mystery, their power. Premeditatio malorum isn't about expecting the worst. It's about preparing for it, so that if it comes, you are not shattered. You are steady. The Stoics understood. Fear thrives in avoidance. It dissolves in confrontation. Try this. Tonight, take a few minutes. Grab a notebook. At the top, write, "What is the worst that could happen this week?" Be honest. List the fears, no matter how small, no matter how silly they seem. Look at them. Sit with them. And then remind yourself, you have faced hard things before. You have survived every worst day you thought you couldn't. You are still here. You are stronger than you fear. And most importantly, you are free because you are prepared. Some conversations are too important to have with anyone else but yourself. The Stoics knew this. Marcus Aurelius's meditations were never meant for the world. They were his private reflections, words he wrote to his own soul. Daily journaling is not about keeping a record. It's about keeping yourself honest. It's about meeting yourself every single day. I started small. Each night before sleep, I opened a notebook. No rules, no expectations. At first, I wrote what had happened, meetings, errands, moments. But slowly, I wrote about what mattered. Where did I falter? Where did I grow? What did I fear? What did I let go? Some nights, the words came easily, like exhaling. Other nights, they didn't. But I showed up anyway. Because journaling wasn't about writing perfect sentences. It was about showing up to witness myself, truthfully, quietly. Over time, something shifted. I began to see patterns, the same anxieties appearing, the same excuses, but also the same small victories, the quiet growth. Daily journaling taught me, life doesn't change in grand gestures. It changes in the tiny, invisible choices we make every day. The pen became my mirror, and the page my witness. You don't need a special journal. You don't need hours. Start with 5 lines a night. Ask yourself, what did I do well today? What could I have done better? What am I grateful for? What am I afraid of? What am I ready to release? Write without judgment. Write without expectations. And over time, you might find, as I did, that in the act of meeting yourself daily, you become a little calmer, a little clearer, a little freer. 7 days. 5 habits. No grand transformations. No overnight miracles. Just small, quiet shifts. But sometimes, those are the ones that matter most. I didn't wake up to a brand new life. I woke up to my life, more awake, more present, more free. Not because the world changed, but because I did. Morning reflection taught me that the first victory of the day is not in conquering the world, but in conquering my mind. Negative visualization taught me that what we have is never promised, and that gratitude is found not in having more, but in needing less. Voluntary discomfort taught me that hardship isn't an enemy to avoid, but a companion to strengthen us. Premeditatio malorum taught me that fear grows in silence, but shrinks in truth. Daily journaling taught me that self-awareness is not a luxury, it's a necessity. No one noticed the change, no one clapped, no one celebrated. But inside, there was a quiet revolution, a slow shedding of noise, a gentle claiming of peace. We often wait for life to offer us freedom, through success, through escape, through change. But freedom isn't given, it's built from within. One choice at a time, one habit at a time. 7 days, 5 habits, and a kind of freedom that no one can take away, not even life itself. Now it's your turn. You don't have to start with all 5 habits. You don't have to change everything overnight. Just one habit, one small, quiet choice. Start there. If you feel called, share in the comments. Which habit will you begin with? I would love to hear. And if you found a little calm, a little clarity, a little freedom here today, consider subscribing. There's more to come. More quiet reflections, more journeys inward. And if someone you know is searching for their own kind of peace, feel free to share this with them. Small steps, big changes. It always begins with one.